Oh, hey guys, it's me, Legit IndyCar News Guy, with a recap of Saturday's action from the Mid-Ohio SportsCar Course. And what today it was, lots of on-track action. Let's get to the recap. In USF 2000, they had two races in one day. First race in the morning, Christian Rasmussen, the points leader by a large margin, wins the pole for the first race, but ended up spinning, losing control, and hitting the tires on the opening lap in turn 12. He just tried warming the tires, missed it over the curb, lost it, and ended up finishing pretty poorly. Finished 14th. If it wasn't for the full course caution, also on the first lap, caused by another driver with an incident in turn 8, he probably would have finished last. But unfortunately, fortunately for Michael D'Orlando, who started third, he took the lead and would end up getting his first career Road to Indy and USF 2000 victory. Congratulations, Michael D'Orlando. A big mover during that race was Christian Brooks, who was able to start 13th and move his way all the way up to 4th. What a move by him. That was a good race. Later on, after that, we had IndyCar Series practice number 1. We only had one little incident with a Patricio Award spinning and making hard contact with the tires in turns 11 and 12. About 35 minutes into the session would bring out the red flag and end his day, as the car had to get hooked and brought all the way back for lots of repairs before qualifying. The last 10 minutes of the practice session kept seeing the leaders, the fastest in the session, leapfrog each other constantly. In the end, I totally forgot to bring up the stats here. 1 second. Practice, yeah. Fastest car in practice was a Ryan Hunter-Ray. About 2/10 slower than last year's fastest speed in the practice session, and he was just a little bit faster than Will Power. After that, we had the Indy Pro 2000 race, the first race of the weekend. Delvin DiFrancesco would end up with a mechanical DNF on the 5th lap, which would bring out a yellow flag. And then another mechanical issue, this time very unfortunate for a Parker Thompson. Kid with a lot of talent and just had absolutely terrible luck this year. He was actually leading the race yesterday before he blew an engine on lap 12, which is just absolutely terrible for him. But his loss would be a gain for Emmanuel Suleiman, who would get his first career Road to Indy win, starting from the 3rd position. He was able to get around and was a fortunate recipient of Parker's blown engine. He was able to take the lead. Biggest move of that race was a Jacob Abel, who was able to advance 5 positions, started 12th and finished 7th. After that, we had another USF 2000 race. This one, he had even more issues for points leader Christian Rasmussen. On the 5th lap, or the 3rd lap, he would spin and stall in turn 5. Going over the hill, he just lost it again. I believe it was caused, on lap 1, he made small contact with another car, which ended up puncturing one of his tires. That is never a good thing to deal with. The 16th lap, almost near the end of the race, you'd have another full course caution for another car stalling in turn 5. Be Simon Sykes. But in this race, it would be the race for a Reese Gold. He was 2nd in the points standing, able to get a victory here at the streets, or at Mid-Ohio SportsCar Course, and is now within 4 points of Christian Rasmussen for the USF 2000 points championship, with not very many races left to go this year. They will have one more race today for both the Indy Pro 2000 and the USF 2000. Finally moving into the IndyCar qualifying. And what a little qualifying session it was. They did not do a knockout qualifying. Instead, they just split the field into two groups and sent each group out for 12 minutes to see who could throw up the fastest lap. In the first group was pretty well stacked, had willpower and a lot of other great cars. It would end up being willpower fastest in the session, nipping it in shocking fashion, not really. At the very last second as he crossed the line, Power would take the lead. Everybody's favorite at Mid-Ohio, Mr. Mid-Ohio himself, Scott Dixon, would only finish 9th out of a group of 11. Such terrible qualifying for him. Dixon would complain that he had no rear grip on the red tires, which is very much unfortunate for him. Other notable names in that first qualifying session, a Jack Harvey would finish 3rd in the session, and a Marco Andretti would finish 6th. Pretty good finish from Marco. Second group, not nearly as good, but usually the second group tends to be faster, since the first group will lay down a bunch of Firestone rubber on the track. We'd end up with a couple of little off-track incidents. Both Alex Palou and an Alexander Rossi, must be in troubles with the Alexes, staying on track. They both went off track in turn 4. Palou would end up getting a penalty for causing a local yellow and slowing down another car. Rossi would not get penalized at all. Lucky him. Now, in an interesting change of events, the second group was nearly 0.4 of a second slower than the first group. Not really sure why. Ryan Hunter-Reay said that there was less grip than practice and would actually blame the road to Indy and their Cooper tires for making the first group faster? Question mark? Not really sure how that works. But the fastest in that group would still be a Ryan Hunter-Reay. He was fastest in the group, but still complained for whatever reason. Connor Daly was second fastest in that group. Good for him. He would have started 4th in the race yesterday. Which then leads us to the IndyCar Mid-Ohio Honda Indy 200, race number 1. Not really 200 miles, only 75 laps. But the entire top 5 would start on the alternate red Firestone tires. We'd have a good, clean first lap. Joseph Newgarden would jump up to the 2nd position, while Ryan Hunter-Reay fell to 4th on the start. Now, the 2nd lap, Simon Pagenaud got spun in the keyhole. A little bit of contact from Rinus VeeKay in the keyhole sent Simon spinning into the back of the field, but no action would be taken by the race stewards, who looked over the incident. The 7th lap saw Santino Ferrucci shoving a Marco Andretti off the track at the exit of the keyhole. Very popular, this keyhole, for contact. Late on lap 9, as you get to turn 3 at the end of the longest straight, best passing opportunity, you'll see Scott Dixon and Rinus VeeKay split and Marco Andretti going around him, and both of them ended up getting around him for the 3rd and 4th positions. Marco Andretti would be complaining that his tires just went off way too fast, so he was the very first car to pit on lap number 15, where he'd switch from the red tires to the primary blacks. A few laps later, you would see Jack Harvey be the 2nd car to pit. He would actually switch from reds to reds again, but would had a unfortunately slow stop, which would cost him a number of positions. Even worse for a Pato O'Ward, he would actually stall the car, exiting the pits, and would lose even more positions. The leader of the race, a William Stephen Power, great name for a race car driver, a Will Power, who actually had one pole in his 60th career pole, second all time. This kid's pretty good. But Power would pit on lap 22. First time the leader would pit, he'd switch from the red tires off to the blacks, where he would stay for the rest of the race. Lap 25th, the last group of cars to pit seemed to be on that two-stop strategy, split the race into exact thirds. Alexander Rossi, Graham Rahal, and Colton Herta all pitting down lap 25. Lap 46 would see Marco Andretti run off track again in the keyhole, but he was able to continue. Very slow day for Marco. Lap 47, the leader, Will Power, again would make his second and final pit stop, staying on black tires. A good, quick pit stop for the number 12 team. Got him out, and he'd cycle back to the lead, where he would stay for the rest of the race. A good day for Will Power. Got his first win of the 2020 season, which is good because he is the last car for Team Penske to get a victory, if you exclude Elio Castroneves, who only raced a couple times this year. But good for Will in a contract year to get a win for Team Penske, although not the best post-race celebration out of him. He didn't seem very happy about it. But it is Will. He was just looking forward to his ice bath later. And actually, it's Will Power's first ever career victory at Mid-Ohio. Good for him. Will was quoted as saying that it's the first time he's ever actually just said, screw it, I'm going to race hard the entire time. Figured with the race being shortened by 15 laps, fuel was not much of an issue for cars, depending on your pit strategy. You were able to run pretty hard the whole time, which he did. Put in a lot of good laps and ended up winning. Now today they will have another race. Sunday they're going to qualify at 10:15 in the morning. Another same kind of qualifying session like they did yesterday with a split field. And then at 1 o'clock, they will race again another 75 laps. The first ever IndyCar doubleheader at Mid-Ohio. You can tune in on NBC at 1. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. We also have an Indy Pro 2000 race at about 9 o'clock this morning on Sunday, followed by a USF 2000 race at 11:15. All the qualifying for this was done yesterday. Well, this has been Legit IndyCar News Guy with your Saturday Mid-Ohio recap. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will hopefully be back later on Sunday with possibly some hot mic action and another video recap along with the Indy Sports Car Podcast next week. Thanks for tuning in.